After a very long wait, vaccines against COVID-19 have finally reached the Philippines. The first batch came from Chinese manufacturer Sinovac.
40 milyong dose ng bakuna ng Pfizer ang inaasahang darating sa Oktubre.
7% o halos kalahati sa 2,400 respondents ng survey sa buong bansa ang ayaw magpabakuna.
Noong April 28 hanggang May 2, sa 1,200 na respondents, 32% ang handang magpabakuna, 35% ang hindi pa sigurado kung magpapabakuna, at 33% ayaw talagang magpabakuna.
Cebu, known to the Philippines as the Queen City of the South, home to the Sinulog Festival, to the oldest city in the Philippines, and to about 2.4 million Filipinos. During the rise of COVID-19 last 2020, everything stopped. Lockdown protocols were imposed on the whole province of Cebu for the safety and security of every citizen. Schools suspended classes, businesses shut down, and offices closed. The normally crowded streets and highways were now close to empty. Fast forward to 2022. With the lockdown restrictions lifted, the once empty streets were busy once again. Malls and stores have slowly opened, and it can be seen that the economy was back on track. But what propelled Cebu to lower its lockdown restrictions was the availability of vaccines and the population's consensus to be vaccinated as soon as possible. It has been known that vaccines have become the protection against a variety of illnesses and viruses worldwide. However, it has also been the subject of several conspiracies. Here are 4 of the many conspiracy theories and myths regarding vaccines. Number 1. Vaccines are used to microchip people. As scientific evidence suggests, the technology to create a microchip small enough to fit the needle of a COVID-19 vaccination syringe has not been created yet. Number 2. Vaccines can cause autism. This conspiracy stemmed from a study that linked the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine with autism. The study, however, was deemed inaccurate due to procedural errors, financial conflicts, and ethics violations. Number 3. Vaccines contain toxic chemicals. Some ingredients that are contained in the vaccine may have toxic tendencies, but only at certain levels. In vaccines, there are only trace amounts of these substances present and are considered safe according to FDA regulations. And number 4. Vaccines alter DNA. There is a difference between mRNA and DNA. mRNA is a single strand of nucleic acids that contains instructions for protein synthesis, whereas DNA is the genetic makeup. Details of its content will be discussed later. These aforementioned conspiracies and other vaccine-related myths stem from a lack of understanding of how vaccines actually work inside the body. In response, this documentary will delve into the various kinds of vaccines before discussing the mechanism behind it. Number 1. Live attenuated vaccines. This type of vaccine utilizes a weakened or tamed form of the disease-causing germ. Number 2. Inactivated vaccines. This type of vaccine uses a dead or killed version of the virus. Number 3. Toxoid vaccines. This type of vaccine utilizes an inert version of a toxin that targets the toxin created by the virus. Number 4. Subunit, recombinant, polysaccharide, and conjugate vaccines. These type of vaccines use specific pieces from the disease-causing germ. And lastly, mRNA vaccines. These mRNA vaccines contain instructions that generate a harmless version of a protein present in the virus. Once the vaccine enters the body, the immune system responds against it, so that when the actual virus does invade, the immune system will readily know how to fight against it. Due to the availability of COVID-19 vaccines, students have slowly become vaccinated and are able to attend blended mode learning and face-to-face classes. Here are some answers of a few students from a well-known university in Cebu, talking about their experiences during the pandemic, the lockdown, and their vaccination.
Well, because of the restrictions during the lockdown, I spent most of my time at home. And most of my time was spent on household chores, watching anime, and generally most of the time I was generally very inactive because of the limited activities that I am able to do. Because most of the activities that I do are very outdoor oriented.
As far as I remember, atong baguhay pa nagsugod ang lockdown. Kuan lang yun. Stay sa balay, tog, kaon, tapos do homeworks. Most of that time, kuan lang. Kuan ra gid sa assignment. I think it is very necessary to have a protocol protecting us from the COVID-19 kay knowing that it's makapekto pa ngayon sa health, not just short term pero long term kay mapekto na ito ang is very important sa itong sistema.
During the beginning of the pandemic, of course, we didn't have any access to any form of vaccine. And it's because of the lack of that vaccine that I can say that it's because of the lack of that vaccine that we have to emphasize the importance of implementing a lockdown. Yes, 100%. And that happened a few months after the initial lockdown. I developed symptoms, complete symptoms for COVID-19. I had diarrhea, I had a very high fever, I had body fatigue, and I also developed loss of taste. And to make things worse, that happened during my parents' wedding anniversary. So it's because of that I wasn't able to go with them during their wedding anniversary. I was stuck at home, I was isolated, and I really felt alone because no one else was at home at the time.
Yes, I did have a fever, and I was not able to kaning ang feeling sa pagkaon kay lain kay siya. Like, when I ate meat kay bro siya lain ni bait ko lain og lasa more siya panos mo ganyan na. Tapos ako ang tutunlan kay arat kayo, so I had to drink panday gargle dahil salty ng water. Unang vaccine ako kay Johnson. And then my booster was Pfizer. Then what I felt after getting Johnson kay right after na ituso ko sa Johnson nga injection vaccine kay super bugat kay ako ang bukton niya. Ma-feel gud nimo nga kani naay bagong lisod sa mo ang bukton kay ang needle ato kay ako kayo so kita din ang bukton so significantly different yun siya sa ubang compared sa Pfizer. Ang Pfizer okay ra pero sa Johnson yun wala na dito ako afterwards tapos one night ra siya.
During the vaccination process, I was actually in a dilemma in which brand of the vaccine I should take. Because I wanted either Pfizer or Sinovac. But ultimately, I chose Sinovac because of the vaccine architecture that is being used in the formulation of Sinovac. I wouldn't say I feel safe, but I feel more confident when I am out in public because knowing that I have been shot with the vaccine, I can say I am well protected against the side effects of the COVID-19 virus. But it doesn't mean that you have been shot with the vaccine. It doesn't mean that you won't get the virus. Of course, you will still get it, but you will not be suffering that bad from the side effects compared to when you haven't been shot with any form of vaccine.
Somehow maybe or murag somehow kay kuan mutuo mo pug ko og kuan gi-study mo na siya so of course na ay evidence na maprotektahan gyud mi ana sa COVID although dili magkumpiyansa nga abi kay bakunado na dili na matakda ng COVID.
Lockdown protocols kept the public safe prior to the release of COVID-19 vaccines. And once the vaccines were released, it prompted the public to get vaccinated, thus turning Cebu into a safer place amidst the pandemic. This documentary is in line with Sustainable Development Goal number 3, good health and well-being. It aims to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all ages. I am Saral Andre Durango, and this is Vaccination, a coronavirus documentary.